Hello, I'm Sam Holmes. Here's your 4pm Solent Sports News. Southampton host Leeds United at 3pm tomorrow as the Premier League returns. Captain James Ward-Prowse will miss the game through suspension. Che Adams will also miss the match after picking up a muscle injury on international duty with Scotland. Saints are winless in their Premier League campaign so far, and manager Ralph Hasenhüttl is aware of the struggles.
A lot of things are working quite well in our game, I think, but there is also not to deny that our goal scoring is not on the average level, or not on a level we need to be for getting wins, and this is the issue we have.
The Austrian is headlined for other reasons lately, after being fined by the FA for his comments made on Mike Dean. Saints manager has been charged on 2 accounts that are questioning the integrity of an official and implied bias. Hasenhüttl is until next Tuesday to respond. There are some mixed views in Southampton on his fine.
Realistically speaking, as a manager's point of view, he should be able to say what he wants, because at the end of the day, he's the manager of a big Premier League football club, and he manages his team. He does majority of the work in the team.
I think it probably is the right thing for him to be charged. I think it makes sense that managers are allowed to give their opinion.
Firstly, I don't think he was right to complain about VAR in the first place. I think it was a perfectly legitimate decision. Opinion regardless of whether it's Mike Dean or not, who probably should have been called out for many other things beforehand.
I think managers should be able to say what they want about officials without having to get fined. They should be allowed to say their opinion.
Yeah, so I think the VAR, a lot of times it's been proved wrong in the game, so managers shouldn't be fined for commenting.
Now we have reporter George Harrison here for a Premier League preview.
There are some exciting fixtures tomorrow as the players come back from their international duty. The early kick-off as Liverpool travel to Vicarage Road for their game against Watford. At 3 o'clock, Leicester City host Manchester United, who are without Raphael Varane and Harry Maguire due to injury. Manchester City face Burnley, while Chelsea are against their informed neighbours Brentford. However, all Premier League clubs will be without their South American players for the weekend, as the World Cup qualifiers were played at 1 a.m. today. That's the Premier League roundup this weekend. Back to you, Sam.
Managers around the Premier League are already starting to fear the new force of Newcastle United. Ollie Johnson has more on this.
A Premier League manager has questioned the Saudi takeover at Newcastle United. Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp reckons that the Magpies could become one of the best teams in Europe, but believes the situation is similar to the suggested Super League just a few months ago. The recent purchase of the Tyneside club has made Newcastle the richest side in the world, but the German is interested in how they will fare domestically.
This is kind of creating a super team, if you want. It's pretty much the same. Guaranteed spots in the Champions League, not in a few years' time, not immediately.
Whether you're a Newcastle fan or not, the takeover story has caught the world's attention. Certain ethical issues may come into play, whether money has taken over the game. But we spoke to the public to hear their views on football's new European superpower.
So yeah, I think Newcastle are a big club. They've obviously got a lot of history. Alan Shearer, a long time ago playing for them. Obviously with this money coming in, they can only grow and get bigger. They've obviously got the budget to sign lots of new players.
So they got the money, but they then won stuff, so now they're a super club. They're not at the level of City or Chelsea or a big club like Arsenal, Man U and Liverpool or something like that.
I need to see results coming from the squad. At the moment they've still got the same old Newcastle squad and the same manager. Up until results happen, I don't see them being a super club.
With all that money and the transfers that's going to come in the team, they will be a super team.
Don't think they're a super club at the moment. I mean, obviously they've got the financial spending power to become one in the future, but obviously right now I can't see them finishing above mid-table this season.
Only time will tell on how the Newcastle saga unfolds. Back to you, Sam.
Manchester City forward Raheem Sterling says he is open to playing abroad if he doesn't get enough game time at the Etihad. The England international has only started 1 Premier League game since the opening week of the season. Sterling, whose contract runs out in 2023, said he has dreamed from a young age of playing abroad.
As an English player, all I know is the Premier League, All you know is the Premier League, and I have always, had something that, okay, maybe one day I'd love to, play abroad and see how I would come up against that challenge.
Hungary fans and English police officers clashed on Tuesday inside Wembley. Here's Joe Parker on the subject.
On a day that should have been remembered for a game of football between two major nations coming together at Wembley, it was instead marred by crowd trouble in the away end as Hungarian fans who had a racist banner clashed with police, resulting in one arrest.
This is just not settling down.
It's a proper fight.
Yeah, it is a proper fight.
Yeah.
And this is this is terrible, really, given what happened last month with those spectators. And actually, the stewards who are there seem to be being driven back out of the entrance. And now there are dozens and dozens of Hungarian supporters who are actually forcing the stewards out of the ground, and the fighting seems to be continuing.
This isn't the first time that Hungary fans have clashed with police over alleged racist chants and banners. Fans believe that there is a way that this can be stopped.
They should try to implement bans, in my opinion. If they start banning people who are doing it, then less people are going to do it because they want to continue to go to football matches.
This also isn't the first time that an England versus Hungary game has been covered in controversy. Just last month there was crowd trouble when the two sides met in Budapest. England manager Gareth Southgate said how disappointing scenes like that are still happening in today's game were after the game last month.
It's never acceptable. Everybody knows I've said enough about racism over the last 2 years to know where I stand on it. I don't want to come here and make a big fuss about Hungary, but if it's happened, then action should be taken.
Fans who were at the game on Tuesday night were appalled by what they saw at Wembley and think it has no place in today's game.
Yeah, so it was my first visit to Wembley. The crowd was great, but the Hungary fans got a little out of control, and they were stomping and getting real rowdy, and the cops had to get involved. It was nuts.
Many of the Hungary fans were dressed in black t-shirts, which represented their country's ultras, and FIFA needs to start taking the appropriate action this time.
Racism in football seems to be a bigger issue than ever at the minute, and it doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. Tony Burnett, the head of Kick It Out, thinks the issue stems from local issues within different countries.
From a broader perspective, I think we've got to look at this globally and on a European level. A lot of the stuff I think we see from places like Hungary are driven by the local dynamic and the local conversation that's going on around issues of race.
Joe Parker, Solent Sports News.
And now we have Jack Cross live at St Mary's.
Yes, Sam. I'm currently outside Southampton St Mary's Stadium, where there's a much calmer atmosphere than at Wembley the other night, with fans coming in and out of the club shop buying tickets for the club's next fixture, and also where there's big work underway in preparation to try and get, as we mentioned earlier, Saints' first win of the season and another 3 points on the board when they first lead United in tomorrow's Premier League game. England player and Saints captain James Ward-Prowse will finally end his run of 102 consecutive Premier League appearances when he begins the first of his 3-match ban after his red card against Chelsea. He's just been part of that England squad that drew 1-1 of Hungary on Tuesday night, where they witnessed that crowd violence between the Hungary fans and the police. While this violence still continues, the people here at the stadium and the surrounding area will have to prepare for next summer as the Women's Euros comes into town, and they, along with the police, will be hoping for it to be a safe and successful summer. Back to you, Sam, in the studio.
National League side Eastleigh start their FA Cup campaign tomorrow. The Spitfires face Folkestone and Victor, who are 2 divisions below. Ben Streven's side reached the first round of the Cup last season, losing on penalties to MK Dons. A win tomorrow will see Eastleigh reach that round and give them a chance to go one better. Britain's tennis star Cameron Norrie said his win to reach the semi-finals of the Indian Wells Masters was the biggest of his career. The world number 26 beat Diego Schwartzman in straight sets and now faces Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov. Norrie had never reached the last 8 of the Masters 1000 tournament and would become Britain's number 1.
Never really a goal of mine, but it's definitely a great bonus to be British number 1, and I want to keep pushing. I think I got a lot of things to improve on, but I think it's one of those things you got to enjoy.
The Solent Kestrels are in action tomorrow as they look to maintain their unbeaten run. The growth of the sport in Britain is lining up with the team's success. Max Timms is more on the sport's national increase in popularity.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
With all the hype and excitement of the NBA over in America, British basketball can often be seen getting left behind. However, the popularity of the sport is increasing in the United Kingdom. Former Newcastle Eagles and Plymouth Raiders player Drew Lasker thinks it's only a matter of time until basketball establishes itself over here.
In the youth, basketball is the second most played game behind football, so it definitely has an interest with the new generation. It's all about television exposure. That's what changes the sport. And so I think if we can get a long-term deal with Sky after this year, it could definitely get to that direction.
According to British Basketball, over 300,000 people aged over 16 play basketball more than twice a month. The sport is becoming more established and competitive in university leagues. Solent Kestrel's coach Sylvain Donald thinks high-quality university teams are a big attraction for young fans.
It's been a focused sport here at the uni for years now, and we've been playing at the top level at university side for 6 years now. So kids, players, students who want to study and play basketball, they're coming to Solent.
A positive side effect of the popularity of basketball growing is the standard of players in the UK is improving.
Josh Masoki, Team Solent basketball point guard. Just seeing the trials this year, seeing a lot more activity. 3 strong squads that are competing at fairly high level. Yeah, the ability of the players, the high participation rates definitely show that basketball is definitely improving.
It will be interesting to see where the sport goes over the next few years. With British teams starting to pick up more wins in Europe, it seems that the league will gain a growing respect and with that a growing fan base. Max Timms, Solent Sports News.
In Formula 1, the Chinese Grand Prix is expected to be dropped from the 2022 calendar. The Shanghai race has not been held since the coronavirus pandemic began. It will be replaced by the Emilia-Romagna GP at Imola. F1 will publish a record 23-race calendar on Friday, with all the other events absent this season reinstated. Here is F1 journalist Robbie Jones with more.
The Chinese Grand Prix has been a fairly consistent part of the Formula 1 calendar, starting in 2004 and up to just a couple of years ago in 2019. F1 will definitely miss its presence. The fans there are very passionate and I'm sure they're just as disappointed as all of us. We've seen so much great racing in Shanghai, from Hamilton's win there for McLaren in 2011 and Daniel Ricciardo's overtaking masterclass in 2018. So hopefully we'll see a return to China in 2023, but for now we'll go to Imola, which is definitely a worthy replacement.
And finally, we have breaking news of a new winner of the inaugural Balloon World Cup. Yes, you heard right, organised by Barcelona and former Spain centre-back Gerard Piqué. The rules are simply, don't let the balloon touch the floor. Peru's Francesco de la Cruz was crowned world champion on the 8 metres by 8 metres court. That's all from us now. I'll be back in an hour with more.